All right, today boys, we're building the inevitable. Considering I have 4 of these massive electric motors, I didn't have much of a choice other than to build a drone. A massive drone with more than 100 kilograms of lifting power, which is gonna be insane. These motors, man, they're like straight from a sci-fi movie. They are so powerful, and we're not even close to the maximum capacity of these, mostly because the batteries are limiting us. We're using lithium polymer batteries. They can deliver huge amount of current to the motors, and they are super light, but the capacity is really, really poor. So we might just be able to fly for a few minutes. Now I'm using the carbon fiber propellers, and some of you might wonder why we're not using the boat batteries. These are 10 kilograms each, and I would have to use 2 of them. So that's 20 kilograms. This is just 5 kilograms. All right, we got a Pixhawk with GPS for flight control. I'm building the frame out of aluminum square profiles, and that's just a fraction of all the components that I need, but I couldn't fit more on the table. So let's get started building this big ass drone. Oh, how big is the drone gonna be, you ask? All right, yes, originally I was thinking of making some type of scissor-like mechanism so we could easily transport it. I really don't think I could get it out the door otherwise. Now, I don't think that's a very good idea. What I think I'm gonna do is take some really rigid plywood, make a square base, a top plate and a bottom plate. I'm also gonna make motor mounts out of the same plywood, and then cut the aluminum and make them 4 individual arms that I then could rotate and make it easy for transport. Come on. Wow, that's heavy. That is very, very heavy. Maybe there is a smarter... Hello? Hey, maybe there is a more weight efficient way instead of using 21 millimeter plywood. This is 2.6 kilograms. Let's see if we can cut away some material later on. Fuck. If that's not the largest drone you've ever seen, you have lived quite a life. I'm also pretty sure that we can cut off a substantial amount of plywood each corner on both plates. That will save a lot of weight. Now let me fill you in on the brilliant plan. I'll have 2 bolts per arm, which means I can just remove 1 bolt per arm and have them swing in like this. It'll make transport way easier. I'm just gonna make sure that way easy. Now I'm just gonna have to make sure that I have enough slack on the wires so they don't get pinched or that I pull on the wires. But hey, that's a lot easier to transport. Sick. All right, that's gonna be the frame. Oh yeah, it got some decent length. It's pretty massive actually. Oh yeah, the drone is pretty big too. Am I not gonna have to take this apart? Yes, I was stupid. So I'm gonna have to take this apart in order to route all the wires. But I wanted to make sure that everything fits together nicely, and it sure does. It's gonna add another 120 centimeters on the wingspan when we add the propellers. Right now, it's 7 feet, more than 210 centimeters. All up wingspan when the propeller is on is gonna be 330 centimeters. Absolutely insane. Now, you might think this looks heavy. It's actually just 5 kilograms. And considering we have more than 100 kilograms of lifting power from all 4 motors, well, then 5 kilograms is really not all that much. I'm calculating now that the all-up weight is going to be around 17 kilograms, which is only 17%. It's not that much, which totally should make us able to lift my weight. All right, check this out. I made a template. It's a pretty good tip actually to use your 3D printers to make templates, just to make sure that all 4 pieces are gonna be the exact same. And so this goes on every end of all the arms and it's gonna act as the motor mount. Now let's see if I made it according to my drawings. All right, let's get this painted. Ooh. Nice. All right, let's see here. Oh, whoa. Should do this more often. It's now where the drone really takes shape. I've attached all 4 motors. I've routed the wires quite neatly, I might say. And the idea now is to route the wires throughout the aluminium and then have a center hub with all the connections that we need in the middle of the drone. All right, so let's see if we can get these wires through the aluminum pipes. With propellers, it's 3.5 meters in diameter or 11.5 feet. I realize now with all 4 propellers, did I make it unnecessarily large? Maybe I did. I know my thinking was, well, I need a good safety margin from the center base to the propeller just so I can keep all the batteries here and all that. But also when they're swinging, they're getting fairly close. Yeah. Maybe that's good. 15.5 kilograms. And with 8 of these batteries, it will be another 5 kilograms. So we're looking at 20 kilograms with a drone capable of 160 kilograms thrust on max capacity if the voltage is high enough. What the? Okay, landing gear, pretty straightforward. A 3D printed mount, 30 by 30 millimeter aluminum pipe goes in. A couple of springs that holds it back so that when it lands really hard, it will be able to soften the blow, but it also will stop at about this angle, so it will keep it quite elevated from the propellers. That's the idea. Functional, it elevates the motors, I think enough for the propellers to, even if it's slightly tall grass, wouldn't be a problem. Okay, I figured out the battery holder situation. I went with the good and old strap and pray for your life. So I 3D printed these holders that kind of slots in with these nuts just to guide them in place. And then we'll have straps holding the batteries in place, just like this. Seems to work reasonably well. Now, I'm gonna screw those down and I'm gonna do about the same thing with the Pixhawk controller on the other side. I made a little mount for it and I was thinking about using O-rings to keep it isolated from vibrations. Here's the controller. You used to have some kind of mounting system so vibrations couldn't get into the controller to mess up the accelerometers and gyros. Not sure how important that is in 2025. I'm just gonna skip it and see if it works. Oh yeah, I also realized that in a crash, the batteries would soak some of the impact damage and you know, I'm just thinking that's pretty good content. Okay, I need this to be flush, so I introduced the burner. Perfect. Pretty nice. But then the programming came to ruin the day, and what happened? Well, absolutely nothing. Nothing happened. I couldn't get the receiver to work with S-Bus, the Pixhawk wouldn't connect to the computer, and I had to learn 4 new softwares for everything to talk to each other. Okay, this wasn't easy, I'll tell you that much. It's been 4 days, I've recorded nothing, but okay, hear me out. From each speed controller, there is a signal wire that goes through the arm. It's supposed to go into the pick sock. The problem I had was the S-bus connection. It's just one connection from the pick sock to the receiver. Now, I could get the remote to talk with the receiver. It was actually this one. But the pick sock didn't register any input to Q ground control, a software that I'm using to control all of this. Me thinking that this receiver not working was on me because, you know, I'm kind of new to all this. I kept trying with different receivers, but I couldn't get them to connect to the S-bus either. So that's when I got desperate, and I actually got this to work with the DSM receiver, the satellite receiver. This is from 2010, it's 15 years old. But then finally I found a receiver that actually worked on S-bus, and now I can also use this controller. So that's great. Turns out it was just this receiver not being to protocol or something. No, what happened? Oh, all right. So I guess... it works! I got the batteries, all the propellers. I did have a pretty sleek trick, and that was to use heat shrink tubing to mount all the components. That worked really well. Now let's get the propellers on, the batteries connected. I'm gonna do the propellers the very last, so that way we don't have an accident. I'm just gonna spin up the motors and make sure it works. I designed a small lip for the battery to rest so that I could do this easily on my own. Okay, I'll give it to you. The tether thing was a little too excessive. Varför ska sånt här alltid hända mig? Man ser så himla officiell ut när man har en laptop ute på fältet. Gör man inte? Kompass inconsistent. Okej. Åh, jag blir så arg. Ja, du kan sluta filma nu för övrigt. It took me about 2 hours to figure out the problem. It was the compass. I was able to recalibrate it, and here we go again. There we go. Okay, first flight, possibly the last one, of the heavy lift drone on 50 volts. Let's hope it goes okay. Here we go. Okay, it didn't start. Oh my, it lifts so easily. That's 10% throttle. Okay, it drifts quite a bit. Hope everything is okay. That lifted on barely any throttle. That was insane. I'm pretty sure the propeller survived. The landing gear, not so much. The adapter and motor mount are precisely the type of parts that PCBWay can make. All you have to do is upload your file and it will provide you with materials to choose from. PCBWay also offers PCB manufacturing. It's in their name, and with their instant quote feature, you will get their pricing up front, which is really appreciated. For the past years, I've mainly used their 3D printing and CNC service, but check out their website in the description below to find out what parts they can make you. I replaced the broken landing gear, made an anti-vibration mount for the flight controller using O-rings, and adjusted the PID settings before the second takeoff. It totally got worse. I increased P and D. Now I'll put them back to the original values and lower them even further. It's still really... Nah, I mean, I can't even fly it. Okay, let me just increase it a lot and see what happens. I then broke the landing gear for the third time and decided to replace it. I also put all my might into tightening this one screw for some reason. I did have a sneaking suspicion that the arms was flexing, so I reinforced the heck out of it. Using these threaded rods for landing gear was nothing short of a genius level thinking. I mean, they're pretty much indestructible. While calibrating the compass with the laptop connected could probably be considered less than optimal, although it worked. So third time's a charm, and here we go. Yeah! We're using the same PID settings. I just want to see if the reinforcements did anything. Okay, calibrated accelerometer and compass. Slightly increased the PID settings. Let's see if it makes a difference. Is it just me or did it fly better before? All right. Throughout these attempts, I'm adjusting the PID settings after every landing or crash. It didn't do too much though. After testing about every possible combination, eventually I stumbled upon a slightly increased proportional and a lot lowered integral, which at least let me get it off the ground. Okay, I can't possibly record everything I do. I took the drone back into the garage and downloaded Mission Planner. It's a different software that lets you adjust the PID settings, and it was way easier in that program. It flew. Then I tweaked the settings slightly. I barely touched them. In fact, I think I changed the P and I by a factor of 0.1, and now it does this. So I went back real quick and did something amazing. I think that was the first landing ever. But then it started this death wobble and broke one of the propellers, which I had no more of. I repaired it though, and this happened the next day. I got it to fly okay again, nothing too fancy, a simple hover, but once in a while it will get into this wobble, and the drone being 20 kilograms means something is gonna break. Alright, not really a success, but holy shit, that's gonna be part one. So in part two, I'm gonna build the anchor system so that we can actually lift stuff. I'm also gonna replace the motor mounts. That's what broke now. I did have one propeller actually break. I fixed it with super glue and that seems to work. But that's gonna be part one. See you in part two.